Hey guys, Sarge here. One thing I wanted to talk to you guys about is a idea that someone had asked, and I thought, well, hey, I'll go make a video on that, right? And this is kind of just going to be called the concealed carry basics, okay? So the basics of what I need to know to properly conceal carry. First of all, I have a belt video that's already out. Please go and check that video out because that's where I go ahead and talk about the right EDC belts that you need to be wearing, in my opinion. Okay, and that's all. All this is just my opinion. You could agree with it, disagree with it, but if you don't live in your mom's basement, you'll probably agree with 99% of it. So going forward, guys, what we're going to focus on in this one is how do I know that I selected the right holster? And there's a lot of different holster options out there, a lot of things to choose from, and honestly, they look pretty similar. So how do I know which one to get? Something that is true is a lot of these holster companies, they get their holster material, their kydex, everything else, their clips, their wings from the same people, okay? They get them from the same manufacturers, distributors, and they're all kind of the same, but they're not built the same. That's where it kind of matters, because you could get a holster that, man, well, I have one that looks just like your McKinatec Talon Slimline, so they're working the same. No, because if this clip is slightly off in positioning wise of where McKinatec puts his, it's not going to carry the same. If your kydex is not properly blended, it is not going to carry the same, okay? Especially if you're carrying in the appendix. But I carry this Slimline Talon at my 3 o'clock or in the appendix just so I have the capability to kind of move it around. And I'm telling you right now, I have other holster companies who charge $80 for a holster, and they're the most uncomfortable piece of kydex I've ever carried. And I was sitting there for a long time and I couldn't figure out why, but every time I would put it on my side, I was just like, man, this holster is just uncomfortable. And the reason is, it's how they properly or improperly treated the kydex, and kind of when they went through their blending, as they call it, they didn't do it correctly because they don't carry guns. And that's kind of where I decided, like, okay, what do I need to look for to make sure I have a proper holster? One, look up the company, okay? Just because it's a higher price does not always mean it's a good holster. I've seen a lot of $100, $200 appendix, well, like $100. I haven't seen any $200 ones yet, but the $100 appendix rig setups that they have cracked, they've not held up too well, or they've just straight up broke, okay? So those are issues, especially when this is a life support equipment provider in a sense of it carries the gun, right? So those are things that we don't want to have happen. Well, with the McKinatec, that's checks all the boxes for what I want. It holds up. I've literally used this thing in about 37 classes and nothing has happened to it. Like, it is still just as good as the day I first got it. And one thing that I was personally worried about, it has like paracord here in the back. It's still no issue. I haven't even touched that. So it's held up, no issues at all. Okay, no fraying, it's perfect. Where other holsters don't have it. So how do I know? Well, one, look up the company. If they don't look like Freedom Loving Patriots, they're probably not. Two, the price point. McKinatec holsters are the cheapest holsters, in my opinion, in the highest quality category. I would really consider them one like the top tier of holster company and the bottom tier for pricing, and that is good, okay? Because they're like, if you look at other holsters that are $58, you're getting $58 worth, but here you're getting about $100 worth. So, so things that I kind of look for is I look up the company, I look at all their different holsters, and then when I'm looking at a holster, I really look for, okay, are these edges blended, right? Who carries the holsters? That's a big one. A lot of times on sites, they'll put like their brand ambassadors or whatever it is. Look those guys and girls up, okay? And if all those individuals are faces, and what I mean, they're not actually using their guns, they're not actually carrying the holsters, they're just there for the pictures, okay? Those are people not to get holsters from because they don't really carry a gun. How do I know that? I've met a large majority of people, and all the people that are just faces for these products, they do not actually carry the guns. They don't actually carry the holsters. There was actually one individual that was carrying another brand of holster, and he was saying how it's the greatest one out there, this one we should get. And I just kind of said, well, hey, you know, I actually had an issue where it had no retention to it. I carried it for a month and all the retention was gone, even though, okay, it did not have retention points here. Okay, so you couldn't fix the retention yourself. It was, you know, kind of a sealed design that they did. And he said, no, that's not true. It would never happen. Well, he's never carried the crapping gun in the holster, but to take a picture in it. Okay, so here's the things to look at. Me personally, whenever I am going to get a holster, the retention points are something that I look for. Where is the gun locking into place at? If it's locking into place up here on the slide, not a good holster. Okay, if you put the gun in the holster and you don't hear a click, okay, it's not properly retained in there. I don't care what anybody says. It is not properly retained in there. A test that I do is I will flip the gun upside down and I will sit here and shake it. Okay, and I want to make sure that this gun is not going to come out of the holster. Okay, so little things that I look for with the clip design, guys. Go with the smallest clip possible. But how do you know? If you go with the clip, and that's something to look up the holster and see what kind of return policy that they do have. But honestly, if you have a small slimline gun, you're going to be fine with a smaller clip, and that's what you should be looking for, because it's going to make the smallest package that it can on the carry side, and it's going to blueprint or have that printing gone. Okay, but if you get something with one of those big stupid clips, okay, that's something that's going to affect it. Also with the clip, I like the clips that go completely underneath, and you guys will see it in the photos, but it goes completely underneath your belt. Those are the only clips I use. The bigger, I think they're called foamy clips. I do not like those. Those are crap. Do not use them. Okay. But for me, guys, that's kind of what I look for in getting a concealed carry holster for this setup. Let me know what kind of holsters you guys use. I'm going to be doing some holster tests, actually, just to show you guys difference of different brands out there. Let me know what brands you guys use, and I'll see if I already have those. Let me know down in the comments what kind of stuff do you look for in a carry holster, so that way going forward I can even bring it up in here. And as always, guys, thank you very much for watching. Make sure to give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so. Sarge out.